District 12 in Nampa. What we have in front of us this morning is RS 31739. I'll just hit on a couple of points of what this RS seeks to do. It looks like we've had a couple of pieces of legislation come forward this year to deal with illegal immigration and the problem that we have in this country. This legislation would create a new crime called illegal entry and also penalties for that crime. A first offense would be a misdemeanor, a second offense would be a felony. It also will allow local law enforcement agents to go ahead and act in their capacity to see if they have an illegal immigration status and go ahead and detain and go through the process. If someone was found to be illegally in this country, they can go before a magistrate and a judge, and then they have the option to be immediately deported back to their country of origin. So currently we have 3 ports of entry here in the state of Idaho, 1 in Boise, 2 in northern Idaho. The issue that we continue to talk about in this country right now is the southern border. However, we have representatives from northern Idaho that can attest to the fact that the Canadian border is just as much of a threat as the southern border. So there are millions upon millions of people that are flooding into this country, and nothing's being done about it on a national level. So when you look at the Constitution of the United States, Article 1, Section 10 gives states sovereignty and power to go ahead and, in the case of an invasion, protect their borders. So this is within our bounds of the Constitution to go ahead and protect our own state and our own borders. So with that, I would ask that you introduce RS 31739.
Thank you, Representative Crane. Representative Scott.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Representative Crane, you said there's 3 ports of entry, and you said 2 in North Idaho and 1 in Boise. Can you explain what you mean by port of entry in Boise?
Absolutely.
Representative Crane.
Oh, thank you, Madam Chair and Representative Scott. So what you'll find in this legislation is that they have to come to this country through a legal port of entry. So if they were to come into the state of Idaho and they would go to the Boise one, let's say, there's a port of entry here in Boise. And they can go through that process and talk to the agents there about why they're here and what they're going through. By usurping that, what we're finding is the flooding at the borders is people just running across here and then finding their way into the country, and there's no process, there's no place for these people to go. There are places within each state that they do have an actual border entry, which I found very interesting.
Follow-up?
Representative Scott. Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Representative Crane, would we have to pay to remove them?
Representative Crane.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Representative Scott. Great question. We will have to set up some sort of funding, whether that is handled by the county sheriffs or whether that's that we set up a state fund in order to get them sent back. We are going to have to hypothetically put them on a bus or transportation, so to speak, back to the border to get them back into their country of origin. So yes, we will have to figure out what the funding is going to look like.
One last question.
Representative Scott.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Representative Crane, earlier this year in this committee, we were told that 70% of the dairymen in this state are illegal. What happens there?
Representative Crane.
So, Madam Chair, Representative Scott, there is provisions in here that they have injunctive relief if they are here on a program. Let's see here. There is, so at the bottom of page 1, on line 37, we have the federal government has granted the defendant lawful presence in the United States, asylum under U.S. Code 1158. Going to page 2, the defendant's conduct does not constitute a violation. So that there are things like that. So if they are coming here on a visa, on a work visa, that's going to be taken up differently than people that are coming over here illegally, which is the millions upon millions upon millions of people. So
thank you.
Yeah.
All right. I'm not sure who was first. Representative Achilles.
Great. Thanks, Madam Chair. Representative Crane. So I disagree with your statement that nothing is being done at the federal level, and I'll send a link out to the committee here, but statement from our fact sheet from the Department of Homeland Services on September 20th, 2023 that shows at least 6 federal actions that have been taken to curb illegal immigration. So I just want to make sure that we're making factual statements here regarding this RS. Number one. Number two, you just told us that the fiscal note is incorrect, right? To Representative Scott's question. So why do we have a fiscal note on this that says there's no fiscal impact when you just said that it's going to cost the state to send people out?
Representative Crane.
Thank you, Representative Young and Representative Keeley's. I would say 6 efforts made by the federal government out of millions is not, to me, acceptable. So that would be my comment back to you on that. I would say
Yeah,
nothing.
I'm sorry, you said policy. No policy is
Representative
being
Keeley,
done.
we need
not
to go through the
individuals.
chair. Representative Crane, do you have further response?
No.
Thank you. Representative Barbieri.
I'm sorry, I have a follow-up, Madam Chair.
Right now, I'm going to have Representative Barbieri ask
Thank
this
you, Madam
question.
Chair. If we do introduce this, Representative Crane, we are going to have to change that fiscal note. I don't know how one determines what the cost would be, but as you testified here, that there's going to be some cost involved in this. And so I just would suggest that if we introduce this, you look into those dynamics. I'm sure the chairman would not mind having that fiscal note altered, edited so that it's correct. I support the bill. I think it's important. I think that we need to move forward on this anyway. So I will make a motion to introduce RS 31739.
Thank you, Representative Barbieri. Representative Crane, would you like to respond to any of that?
Thank you, Madam Chair and Representative Barbieri. Absolutely. Between now and the time that we do the full hearing on it, I will go ahead and get an updated fiscal note and talk to the people I need to talk to. So, thank you.
Thank you. Representative Achilles. Representative Crane, do you mind one more question? Thank you.
Certainly.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, Representative Crane. So how is this RS different from the Texas law that was blocked by federal courts and the Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit last night?
Representative Crane.
Thank you, Representative Keeley's. This is Idaho's version of it. So we did go after Senate Bill 4. It does look like the Supreme Court upheld that. And then recently, last night, there was a stay. So it doesn't look like it's been struck down. So.
Representative Gannon.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and Representative Crane. So I'm just looking at the provisions on 4, 5, and 6, which talk about civil immunity and reimbursement of local government expenses, and then if they're sued civilly, we'll indemnify them. So it does look like there is the potential for significant fiscal impact, and I just wanted to point that out.
Would you like to respond to that, Representative Crane?
Thank you, Representative Young and Representative Gannon. Yes, I appreciate that comment. That currently, right now, there are protections in place for law enforcement similarly. If they had a bad act or someone acted out of their capacity. Those things do already exist right now, but yes, I can appreciate that comment.
All right. Thank you, committee. It looks like I do see one more question. Representative Allgood.
Yes, Representative Crane, have you had any input from our Idaho law enforcement that would be pursuing this?
Representative Crane.
Madam Chair and Representative Allgood, originally, so a couple of days ago, I had a draft coming forward, and it was actually the incorrect draft. So I had to pull that one back, but I did actually talk to Chief Up at Nampa PD, and this is kind of where this has come from. Several weeks ago, I had a conversation with him on the phone, and I said, hey, nothing's being done about this situation in the country. Is there anything as a state that we can do to help you guys out? Is there anything that you guys need? And so we started to have a conversation back and forth. Spoke with the AG's office. We started to have conversations about it. He told me that he said, Representative Crane, if there was something in place, I could turn in probably 40 people tomorrow. He said that we know have gone out and committed a crime of some sort and that are here illegally. And so there is a conversation moving amongst law enforcement that they would love to help, but there's nothing in place that allows them to inquire as to an immigration status. There's nothing in place that would allow them to even go down this lane. There will be some things that we have to work out. There's a lot of pieces of legislation we've passed forward through that we're not sure entirely how this will look as it continues to play out. So they are excited about the opportunity, but we do need to have some more further conversations, and I'm excited that this is going to bring some of that forward.
Thank you.
Representative Allgood? Okay. Super. I see no further red lights. And committee, we do have a motion to introduce RS 31739, Is there discussion on that motion? Representative Achilles?
Yes, Madam Chair, just a comment on the motion. You know, I honestly, I don't see how this is a good use of taxpayer resources when this same legislation is tied up in the federal courts. You know, this inserts 4 sections into Idaho code based on, you know, I think a flawed theory of the state's role, and it doesn't, I think, appropriately look at how we solve these immigration issues in a bipartisan way that actually has the potential to make real change. So for that, I'll be a rare no on introducing an RS.
All right, thank you, Representative Achilles. Any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor of introducing RS 31739, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Would you like to be recorded? Representative Achilles would like to be recorded. Representative Gannon? Yes, okay. And Representative Gannon wants to be recorded as voting no. Okay, thank you.
This is,
Committee, that concludes our work for today. Committee is
Julianne
adjourned.
Young. That's Julianne Young, who is anti-transgender